Folks, listen up. It's 2026, and the gun industry is pumping out plastic faster than we can shoot ammo. But forget the marketing fluff and the flashy paint jobs. When the door blows in, you need reliability, not hype. I've cut through the noise. We're looking strictly at the tools that keep your bacon safe when the supply chains choke or the bureaucrats start making new rules. These are the top 8 platforms you should be quietly stacking up right now. My bad hip feels it when I carry junk, so trust me on this. We need real steel, real polymer, and real logistics backing it up. The Glock 19, Generation 5. We start with the baseline, the absolute standard everything else gets measured against. You can't talk about home defense without talking about the Glock 19 Generation 5. For decades, this thing has been the Goldilocks piece. Big enough for a real fight, small enough to stick under your coat if you gotta run. It's striker-fired using Glock's safe action setup. Now, the trade-off. Glock sacrifices looks and a competition trigger to get mechanical simplicity that won't quit. The bore axis sits low, which helps kick the recoil down, though some old dogs still hate the grip angle. But look at the materials. Proprietary high-strength polymer frame, advanced heat-treated steel slide. This gun is built to run in the mud, the sand, or the dust bunnies under your mattress. The NDLC finish on the slide is bomb-proof. Corrosion resistance is better than those older models. The internal fit is functional, designed for required clearance, not prettiness. The trigger in the Gen 5 is smoother than the Gen 4, breaking around 5.5 pounds. Good news. The slide stop is now ambidextrous, essential for one-handed manipulation when arthritis flares up. They finally ditch those finger grooves, letting you get a consistent, high grip, improving barrel axis control. Factory sights are still plastic junk. Upgrade to steel immediately, brother. If you run the MOS version, you're ready for optics right out of the box. Accuracy is noticeably better thanks to the Glock Marksman barrel, stacking holes almost boringly at 10 yards. Reliability is the world standard. It eats everything from cheap bulk training fodder to the spiciest defensive loads over P maintenance, disassembles in seconds, no tools required. Easiest gun to keep running, period. The Glock ecosystem is infinite. You can find any holster or internal component anywhere. This is for the user who demands 100% uptime, no maintenance excuses. It beats most others on combat history, but it's behind SIG or Walther on pure feel. For about $600, it's the smartest security investment you can make. The Kimber KDS-9C1. Here's what happens when you drag a century-old design screaming into the modern era. The Kimber KDS-9C looks to deliver the 1911 legacy, but with the magazine capacity the year 2026 demands. Unlike a traditional 1911, this is a double stack, designed from the ground up for the 9mm, killing the feeding issues found in conversions. They trade off extreme polymer lightness for the stability and weight of aluminum, trying to balance carry comfort with recoil control. The frame is aerospace-grade 7075 aluminum, cutting weight without wrecking structural integrity under sustained fire. Kimber stepped up the manufacturing quality here. The fit between the slide and frame is silky smooth, and the night ride finish protects critical parts from wear. The trigger is pure single action. It breaks like snapping a glass rod, right around 3.5 to 4 pounds, with an extremely short reset. That's why you buy it. The grip is thinner than you'd expect for a double stack, letting even small hands get total command. It comes optics ready with a cut for popular red dots, and the iron sights are high visibility for fast presentation. The 4.09-inch barrel is crowned to protect the rifling, making it a genuine tack driver on the range. The big mechanical upgrade? The external extractor, way more robust than the internal ones on classics. Field stripping needs no special wrenches, a blessing compared to old Kimber designs. It accepts many 1911 platform parts and uses proprietary high-capacity magazines. This is for the enthusiast who loves the 1911 feel but needs 15 rounds and modern reliability on the nightstand. It challenges staccato directly, but costs significantly less, getting 90% of the performance for 60% of the price. At around $1,500, it's premium engineering justifying its cost shot after shot. The Springfield Hellcat Pro Compensated. This one's for the boys who want a compact carry gun but refuse to take a beating from the snappy recoil of micro-compacts. The Hellcat Pro Comp punches way above its weight class. It uses a striker-fired system, but the key is the integral compensated barrel and slide. A port on top redirects gas upward to fight muzzle rise. The engineering trade-off? Muzzle blast and noise go up slightly, a small price for the massive control you gain. High-density polymer frame with an adaptive grip texture that bites harder the tighter you squeeze. The melanite finish is industry standard, resisting sweat and humidity great. The trigger is flat-faced, offering superior mechanical leverage with an integrated trigger safety that's dead intuitive. It's slim, only 1 inch wide, but the Pro variant stretches the grip for full hand control. It uses the UDOT iron sight system, arguably the best factory iron sight setup for fast defense work. Thanks to that compensator, it shoots like a much bigger, heavier pistol. Sight return to target is near instant. Springfield has torture-tested these things for thousands of rounds without a hiccup, even with the compensation port caked in carbon. The port needs a little extra cleaning with a brass brush, but nothing that complicates life for the average user. As one of the top sellers, holster and light options are everywhere. It's ideal for shooters with smaller hands or those needing a seamless transition between EDC and home defense. It beats the SIG P365X macro on perceived toughness and factory sights. For about $650, you're getting compensation tech that usually costs hundreds more on the used market. Watch out for the upward gas recoil that can blacken your optic lens if you don't keep it wiped down. This is the best grown-up micro-compact for those prioritizing speed and control. But if you need something bigger that handles duty loads like a full-sized gun, Springfield has another trick up its sleeve. The Springfield Armory Echelon. Springfield launched this weapon to reclaim the full-size duty pistol market, and they did it by killing the optic plate problem. Its heart is the Central Operating Group, a serialized stainless steel chassis you can move between different polymer frames. It's a big fight pistol, so it isn't easy to conceal, but at home, that size is a benefit. We're looking at a steel internal chassis and a slide with deep serrations front to back for positive manipulation. The fit is professional grade, without the rattle common in many high-volume polymer guns. The striker-fired trigger feels much more refined than a Glock, with a very clean break. The frame design includes a deep beaver tail undercut, letting the gun sit low in your palm. The VIIS system is revolutionary. It uses pins to mount optics directly to the slide with no plates, cutting failure points. Performance on the range is extremely stable. The slide mass is well distributed, resulting in very linear recoil impulse. Designed to meet military torture test standards, this thing doesn't quit. The removable chassis makes deep cleaning easier than almost any other platform. You can swap grip sizes in seconds to fit your hand perfectly. This is for the home defense user who wants a modern, optics-ready, extremely capable platform. It directly threatens the Glock 17 and the SIG P320, beating both on optic mounting. At about $670, it offers features you'd only see on $1,000 guns. Since it's relatively new, availability for some specific performance parts is still catching up. This is a modular masterpiece that solves the optic mounting headache once and for all. Now, moving up the scale, we look at the absolute tank that comes from across the pond, the gun you want when things get heavy and supply is tight. The Zastava CTP AP92. We kick off this list with a dose of brutal reality from the Balkans. The Zastava CTP Tatapitak 92. This isn't for the casual shooter complaining about recoil. This is the new non-optimum import market find. The ATF legally calls this a pistol, but we know the truth. In the real world of tactical application, this gives you carbine ballistics and performance in a short, maneuverable package. We're talking long-stroke piston systems straight from the Kalashnikov design. It asks for no permission. It's heavy, it's loud, and it spits fire, but it delivers devastating kinetic energy thanks to that 7.62x39 cartridge, designed to punch through barriers, not make pretty holes in paper. The engineering is archaic in the best way. It uses a stamped steel receiver, 1.5 millimeters thick, and a reinforced trunnion that's significantly thicker than a standard AK. That means durability is measured in decades, not rounds. The chromed barrel can handle the most corrosive, dirty ammo you can find in a scarcity scenario. But the ergonomics are a brick. Don't expect modern comforts. The trigger is military issue, crude and functional. You buy this because it will run when your competition AR-15 is choked with dust. The outlook for 2026 is grim. These are imports. One signature on an executive order shuts the border to military-style firearms made overseas. The risk profile is neon red. Any future law hitting external magazines, barrel shrouds, or assault features targets the CTP-92 first. Smart strategy now. Secure the base gun, then aggressively hoard 30-round steel magazines and a basic spare parts kit. Guys who understand geopolitics know this is the last train for quality steel service before politics makes it impossible. Next up is the compact weapon that's twisting logistics experts into knots. The SIG P365 X Macro. We have the platform that rewrote the physics of concealed carry, the SIG P365 family, specifically the X Macro variant. Looks like just another slim 9mm pistol disappearing under a t-shirt. But dig into the engineering, and you see the exact recipe the modern defense market has standardized. Firepower previously reserved for massive service pistols now rides on a frame you can hide on your belt without printing. We're talking 17 rounds in a package that defies dimensional logic, complete with an optic cut ready for modern red dots and quality night sights. The technical genius, and why this is a critical investment, lies in the slide integrated compensator. It's not a threaded accessory adding length, it's structural, venting gas upward to keep the muzzle flat during rapid fire. This lets a subcompact pistol handle and shoot like a much bigger, heavier duty gun. The trade-off? The system is complex and demands a firm grip. If your technique is weak, you induce failures. Modularity is key too. You can swap the grip module for a smaller summer frame or a bigger winter one, keeping the same serialized fire control unit. Why the urgency for 2026? Because capacity is legislator enemy number one. The X Macro is the perfect example of too much power in too small a package. Under restrictive standards coming down the pipe, the legal pressure against the carry culture will climb. If carry remains legal where you live, they'll demand it be invisible. The hoarding strategy here is clear. One primary EDC pistol, a spare frame, and a box full of standard and extended magazines. In the future, having 17 rounds ready on your belt might be a legal luxury you can't buy anymore. Speaking of maximum denial of area, we shift gears entirely to shotgun territory. The Beretta 1301 Tactical A platform that should be mandatory in any serious OG home defense inventory for 2026. The Beretta 1301 Tactical. Technically a scattergun, in the hands of a competent operator, this system functions as a short-range area denial tool that's almost impossible to beat. The reason pros are quietly hoarding the 1301 is its blink gas system. This mechanism is arguably the fastest cycling action on the market today, cycling 36% faster than its nearest competitors. That lets you put a wall of lead downrange before your threat has time to process the first shot. Materials quality is typically Italian, flawless, but don't get confused. This isn't a luxury house gun, it's a war machine. The self-cleaning gas system lets the 1301 digest everything from light practice loads to spicy defensive buckshot without hiccup. The downside? The entry cost is steep, and the accessory market is tighter than US platforms. Ergonomics are great, with oversized controls designed for stress, cold hands, or gloves. It's compact, light, and brutally efficient. The uncomfortable truth for 2026 is the vulnerability of high-end imports. If trade relations sour or import rules tighten for semi-automatic shotguns, a category legislators especially despise, finding a tactical shotgun with this level of military reliability becomes a financial nightmare. Smart buyers are locking down factory magazine extensions and adjustable stocks now. The move is simple. Secure the iron, add a high lumen light, a solid sling, and hoard at least 500 rounds of quality 0-aught buck. This is your last line of defense when everything else sputters out. But to truly future-proof your arsenal, you need modularity that breaks the mold of traditional firearms. The SIG P320 Fire Control Unit. We examine what the range crew calls the Bitcoin of handguns, the Fire Control Unit, FCU, of the SIG P320. On paper, that FCU is just a small serialized steel chassis with some springs and a trigger, but in the real world, it's your golden ticket to a massive modular ecosystem that's basically future-proof. You can have that serialized fire pack riding in a subcompact frame in the morning, swap it to a full-size duty slide that afternoon, and then drop it into a heavy competition-compensated frame on Sunday. Legally, the FCU is the gun. Everything else is just plastic and metal you can order via mail. This engineering breaks the traditional paradigm of one gun, one purpose. However, this versatility has a price. The factory trigger on the P320 isn't to everyone's taste, feeling a bit spongy compared to more refined systems. Plus, the bore axis height is considerably higher than other platforms, which can increase recoil perception. But the logistical advantage is undeniable. Maintenance, repairs, and upgrades become tasks you can do at your kitchen table without needing an armorer. The reason people are stacking these FCUs for 2026 is they see where the federal wind is blowing. Legislators love buzzwords like ghost guns and are trying to close the net on anything easily converted or built at home. If laws get tight, a safe full of 20 registered pistols is paperwork and exposure, but a discrete row of legally purchased FCUs lets you build what the mission demands later. The hoarding strategy isn't buying 20 cheap guns. It's securing 2 or 3 high-quality control units and then going heavy on the non-serialized parts. You are pre-configuring your arsenal for a future where the core component might be impossible to source. That wraps up our technical tour of the elite tier for this year, 2026. Boys, we are living in the genuine golden age of firearm manufacturing. Never before have we had access to tools this precise, this capable, and this reliable straight from the factory box. But before I sign off, let me give you a necessary dose of range reality. The calendar year can change, tech can advance, and materials can get exotic, but the basic physics of an armed confrontation don't change. A $2,500 pistol won't save your life if you have 10-cent skills. Take some of the cash you saved researching with this video. Buy a couple boxes of quality ammo, and seek out legitimate training from certified instructors. The mission to protect your family is exactly the same, no matter what iron you got on the nightstand. I want to know what you trust for protection this year. Is that old reliable Glock still ruling your house? Or did you take the jump to something more technical like a staccato or a CZ? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely interested in hearing your real-world range reports. Hit the like button, subscribe, and keep that head on a swivel. Stay sharp.